Don't settle for a no without considering these 5 things. Hi everybody, my name is Greg Crable, and this is my daily podcast, Something I Learned Yesterday, in which I take one issue from the world of publishing and try to explain it in about 3 or 4 minutes. Today's is closer to 5. When you're dealing with vendor negotiations and tech evaluations, miscommunication is a big problem. It can lead to an incorrect evaluation of possible solutions, and it can cost you money. In today's podcast, I'll explain 5 scenarios where a vendor might initially decline a client's request and how both parties can turn this into an opportunity. Number 1 is misunderstanding the request. This should be your go-to explanation. The odds that you've explained things well and that they've replied clearly and precisely are extraordinarily low. Often, miscommunication occurs due to different interpretations of tech or business-related terms. For example, if I ask a platform if they manage paywalls, the vendor might home in on the fact that they don't process payments, where that's not necessarily what's being asked. Before you settle for a no, ask probing questions to make sure you're speaking the same language. Number 2 is the vendor can say it's outside of our scope. Vendors may specialize in very particular areas or emphasize their unique value proposition in a way that excludes other ways of approaching a problem. Dig deeper to find out. But when a client's request actually does fall outside the vendor's expertise, this is a chance for the vendor to behave like a human being and point the customer in the correct direction. It doesn't win the sale, but it creates goodwill and it proves you're not an asshole. Number 3, we're working on it. A vendor may have lost a lot of business because too many prospects were looking for a function that the vendor doesn't provide, so they put it on their roadmap. This gives the prospect an interesting choice. If you need a solution today, then you have to move along. But if you have some time, you might consider partnering with the vendor and helping them create a solution that works well for your business. This could be a win for both of you. But if you do this, be sure to stay in contact. It's a huge disappointment when a vendor says, hey, we built that thing you were asking us for, and it's really not what you were asking for. Number 4, we think that approach is wrong. Now, I love Reuben sandwiches, but I prefer them open-faced. Once I made the mistake of allowing a cook who does Reuben's closed-faced to make me an open-faced sandwich. It was a catastrophe. Most of the issues we face in marketing, publishing, and related technologies are not matters of right or wrong, but sometimes you have to make a choice. For example, some customer data platforms only do deterministic matching, while some do deterministic and probabilistic matching. Some email service providers allow you to attach PDFs while others don't. There are arguments to be made both ways. This is not an opportunity to start an argument or to try to evangelize for your point of view. If the client's and the vendor's approaches are truly incompatible, it's time to part ways amicably, preferably with some recommendations from the vendor on other services that would actually meet the client's needs. Number 5, legal restrictions. Not everything is a matter of preference. Sometimes the law does have a say, and often this will involve privacy protections. Sometimes this is a matter of jurisdiction. A European company might require privacy protections based on European law that don't apply to every US company. Other times the law isn't as clear as people might think, and vendor A might think that something is illegal while vendor B does not. It's important to review these things carefully. If you decide to go with the more lax interpretation, check with a lawyer. If the vendors of lawyers have decided to take a particular stand on a law, the client isn't going to talk them out of it and shouldn't try. But the vendor with the strict approach should have the courtesy to provide references to other companies who see things the client's way. It's not the vendor's business to enforce the law. The bottom line here is learn something. Sometimes a vendor isn't a good match for a client's needs, and it's time to move on. But don't jump to that conclusion and don't leave it there. Use the opportunity to learn something from the encounter. If you need help working with technology vendors, give me a call. I'm pretty good at that, and I can help you work through the process and implement an effective solution. Thanks so much for listening.